The Cellcast is recorded in front of a live streaming audience.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Cellcast. Joining me today is a man who's just powering up his wolf fang fist. Welcome, Jacob.
Ow! Wah! Why, thank you. Let me introduce our co-host, a man simply who he's missing one Dragon Ball to complete a wish he's always wanted his entire life. Now, I don't know what that wish is, but it's going to sound like interesting or something weird. Welcome, Drew.
I so want to play a riff on what Bulma and Yamcha's wish was.
Oh my gosh.
Fun fact, that's the same wish they had in the first story arc of Dragon Ball.
Oh my gosh.
But I am not going there.
Yes, no.
Yeah, today we are reviewing the very first Dragon Ball movie, Curse of the Blood Rubies. A very, very interesting adaptation of the first story arc of Dragon Ball.
Yes.
Not Z,
No.
not Dragon Ball Super,
Nor
not
GT.
Thank goodness it's not GT.
GT wasn't.
Anyway, and of course it's not Dragon Ball Z Kai
No.
or any, and you know it's also not.
No.
It's not that one.
Please no.
That belongs in Bad Movie Month.
Yeah. Burn it.
But
Burn
no,
it.
this is the original Dragon Ball. This is like literally 1 year after the anime started. 2 years after the manga came out is when this came out. And Funimation did not make an uncut audio version of this until 2010. We'll get in more into that later.
This was made in 1986.
Yeah, about. Well, let's go ahead and let's jump into that spoiler-free stuff.
Certified fresh and spoiler-free.
This is my second viewing. Because the entire reason I bought this 4-disc box set, besides collection reasons, was because I read on I don't remember where I was reading it, but it said, oh yeah, this is the first time this has come out uncut. It's a classic gem of the Dragon Ball franchise. And this is the only way you're going to get it. So I went and bought it when it became available and I watched it. And I said, this is the same story, but modified as the beginning of Dragon Ball. That doesn't make it bad.
True.
It's just not what I would have considered an uncut gem.
Fair.
But it's a goofy little fun movie. It's only got like a couple of weird little issues here and there, in my opinion. We'll get to that. But yeah, Jacob, this is your first time not only seeing this film, but anything pre-Z.
Well, that's more of a misnomer. Be like, I've seen.
True, you have watched The Dead Zone because we reviewed that.
I've watched The Dead Zone,
and that is technically pre-Z.
I've seen. I think I saw like the first episode of Dragon Ball years ago, and I was like, oh, okay, but this isn't Dragon Ball Z. It's not as fun. It's not as like it didn't have all the big fights and the whole bit what I was used to with Dragon Ball Z.
It takes a little bit getting there.
Yeah, and I can see why it didn't take off so well here in the States.
Why they jumped straight to Z.
Exactly. But overall, I enjoyed this film for what it was. There again, I'll get into my likes and dislikes, what I liked about it, what I didn't like about it. But overall, I wouldn't say thoroughly enjoyed it. It was an interesting little ride, and it made me chuckle.
All right.
And it was like, this scene happened. Why can't we get this scene again in like Dragon Ball Z or Super or whatever? Because that would be funny.
The writing style changed over the years.
Just a little.
It went from being mostly a comedy to being mostly action.
Yeah.
It never really, it's action comedy all the way through it, but the focus on what we're looking at changes over the course of the time.
Yeah. I love one particular scene which I did not see coming. It's between a fight between two characters for the first time.
I know which one you're talking about.
It was like, what?
You weren't expecting?
I was not expecting that. I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Because you've never seen this character get their tail kicked this hard.
We'll get to that because
Yes.
that is going to come up as that's going to come up later. I'll tell you that right now. So, yeah, I mean, I will give a fair warning. Despite the fact that you're going to be thinking, oh, it's Dragon Ball Z kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Obviously, this was made for kids in Japan. So it should be good for kids here because we watched it on Toonami back in the day.
Right.
Toonami cleaned it up a lot.
Just a little. Little.
This is uncut.
Yeah, it is very uncut.
And everything you've heard about Master Roshi is true.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
And it's at its worst, both in this movie and in the beginning of Dragon Ball. Over time, as it moves away from the more comedic aspects and we get to know the character better, while his perversion never leaves, it becomes less in your face.
A little bit.
But anyway.
Yeah. Roshi.
Let's go ahead and jump into the spoiler-filled section.
Yes, let's get into it.
The following is a spoiler-filled review for the movie Dragon Ball: Curse of the Blood Rubies. Listener discretion is advised. Dragon Ball: Curse of the Blood Rubies was directed by Daisuke Nishio, who directed 93 episodes of Dragon Ball Z. Mostly during the end of the Frieza arc and the beginning of the Cell arc.
Okay.
Just to give you an idea. It was written by Toshiki Inoue. And if I mispronounce that name, I apologize. In fact, anytime I ever mention a Japanese name tonight, and if I mispronounce it, I apologize.
Welcome to my world.
The English script, which was specifically the 2010 dub of the film, was written by Sean Teague. And of course, it is based on the characters and manga Dragon Ball by Akira Toriyama.
Yes.
Copyright Bird Studios, copyright Funimation. Following as a fan. No, I'm not going into Dragon Ball Z Abridged.
Yes.
I was trying to get in my mind, how do they say it? Following is a fan-based parody. Dragon Ball Z, and Dragon Ball GT are owned by Funimation, Toei Animation, Fuji TV, and Akira Toriyama. And then later on, they included Shueisha and somebody else. I don't remember. And moving on. The cast.
Yes, going into the cast.
We've got Colleen Klinkenbeard as Goku.
Okay.
Because this is not the Goku we're used to seeing.
No.
This is his original form as a kid.
Pint-sized Goku.
And
Son Goku.
he played another famous Goku-esque character in another anime, that series that has yet to finish, despite the fact that we can remember seeing it on new episodes of it coming out in high school.
Okay.
On a certain channel by a certain company that edited some other animes that we've actually reviewed. That is famous for its original theme song for the show being a rap song.
Oh. Are we talking 4Kids?
4Kids is the company.
Okay.
But what did they dub? That has been they're no longer doing the dub. Obviously, it's gone.
Yeah.
It's gone to Funimation now.
Yeah.
Crunchyroll.
Yeah.
When it was on 4Kids and it played on Fox Television, back in the day, its theme song that they wrote for it was a rap song.
Yeah,
infamous rap song.
No, I was One Piece.
Yes,
One Piece. That's right.
He is Monkey D. She plays Monkey D. Luffy, the main character of One Piece.
Oh, okay.
So she's pretty good at voicing Goku's.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Because to quote Dragon Ball's
Pint-sized Goku.
Pirate Goku.
Oh, pirate. Oh, yeah.
As opposed to Ninja Goku.
A bridge. You gotta love it.
Sword Guy Piccolo. Moving on. Monica Rial voiced Bulma.
Yeah.
And in the anime Dr. Stone, she voiced Chalk. One of the girls in there.
Yeah.
Brian Massey was the voice of Oolong. And in Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, he played Isaac McDougal.
Okay.
Brianna Palencia was the voice of Poir. And in the Evangelion Rebuild movie, she played Rey.
Oh, okay. Did she originally play Ray, or
not in the?
That's right. That's right.
Not in the ADV dub.
Okay.
In fact, I don't think Funimation pulled any of the original actors for the rebuild movies, but I could be wrong
they did,
there.
Actually,
I could, like I said, I could be wrong there. We'll talk more about that at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So I will say I don't know, but I know Rihanna Palencia was one of Funimation's newer actresses at this time.
That's right. That's right. Because I remember they had to replace the actress who played Ray.
And she plays a lot of the Dragon Balls because Poir. This is not the original voice of Poir either. This is one of her first times voicing Poir.
Oh, okay.
Christopher R. Sabat was the voice of both Yamcha and Shenron.
That's what I thought. I was like, what is...
He's the only voice actor that's the same that you're used to hearing.
Yes. I was like, wait a minute. What does this sound like, Vegeta?
Because it kind of is. And of course, he played All Might in My Hero Academia.
And Vegeta, of course.
Yes, and Vegeta. And he was like half the Ginyu Force. And in the original Dragon Ball Z dub, Chris Sabat played like half the cast.
Yes, it's Chris Sabat. And that's what he does.
He was, I think he just hung out in the studio and says, "Oh, I can voice that." But that's a female character, Chris Sabat. I don't care. I can voice it. I'm guessing. Mike McFarland was the voice of Master Roshi. And he played Goemon Ishikawa the 13th in Lupin the Third, Dragon of Doom, plus a few other Lupin the Third films. Kate Oxley was the voice of Pasta. That was the female villain.
Oh, okay. I was like, who's Pasta?
The female villain. That's the thing you have to remember about Dragon Ball names. They're all puns.
Yes.
And apparently this guy's was all food based of some kind. But she played Pasta. And in the one of my favorite slice of life animes, School Rumble, she played the character of Mai. Charmy Lee was the voice of Pansy, the redhead girl that's running around with him. And she played Tenma in School Rumble. Jonathan Brooks was the voice of Bongo. That was the male villain guy. Yeah. And in One Piece, he played a character named Foxy. Jeremy Inman, the voice of King Gurumes. The only thing I found that really stood out to me was he was Android 16 in Dragon Ball Z. Last but not least, John Swayze was the voice of the narrator at the very beginning.
Yeah.
And in the Evangelion rebuild films,
of course,
he played Gendo Ikari.
I can hear that now. Hear that now.
Getting into Kingdom Hearts connections.
Ooh.
Yes.
Let's see. This was the 2010 dub, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But bear in mind, for Kingdom Hearts connections, I don't just pull from the dub we watched.
Okay.
I also pulled from the other 3 English dubs plus the original Japanese version.
Jeez.
That's actually, it's easy, really easy to do that instead of trying to narrow it to one dub. So, but with that in mind, and I will tell you, that really doesn't help you with the number that much.
No, it doesn't. I just keep thinking the Chris Sabat dub, I'd be like, voice anything in Kingdom Hearts.
I'll be nice. No.
Okay. So I would probably, like, a good fair estimate, probably 5.
You're close. It's actually 4.
Oh.
And none of them are the English voice actors.
Oh,
it's all the Japanese.
Oh, okay.
Masako Nozawa, who's the original voice of Goku, and is still the Japanese voice of Goku to this day.
Really?
Yes. And pretty much all of the rest of Goku's family, except for Raditz.
Well, I thought she'd recently passed away.
No, she's still alive.
Oh, okay.
It was Bulma's actress who passed away in the last couple of years.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
But in Kingdom Hearts, she plays Merryweather, one of the fairies from Sleeping Beauty.
Oh, okay.
Naoki Tatsuda was the voice of Oolong, and he plays Rabbit and the Small Beagle Boy in Kingdom Hearts. Shozo Izuka, who played Pansy's father, is the voice of Dr. Jumba Jukiba in Kingdom Hearts. And Shuichiro Moriyama, who plays King Gurumes in the Japanese version, is both Flotsam and Jetsam in Kingdom Hearts.
Fair.
So that's what I've got for cast lists and connections and such. Did you find anything for info and stuff?
Yes, I did.
Because I know how sometimes the anime gives you trouble.
Yes.
It gives me trouble sometimes.
Yeah, this wasn't very hard to find. All right, so IMDb for info and stuff. On IMDb, it has a 6.7 out of 10. And for fun fact, so while Drew was rattling off information, I looked at my list, and for IMDb, I did not list anything, so I had to go back and quickly fill that out. So
fun.
Yeah, there you go. Now you know.
And knowing is half the battle.
Exactly. So watching, you can right now watch it on Funimation if you're subscribed to Funimation
or Crunchyroll. But if you want to rent the film, you can go to Apple TV, or like if you're subscribed to Apple TV, you can rent it there for $3.99. Only place you can rent it. It's a weird location.
It is weird.
I'm now wondering which version of it is they've got.
Might have to look at that.
We'll get into that in a minute.
All right. So production was Toei Animation, distributed by Toei Production. Its original release date was December 20th, 1982 in Japan.
82 or 86?
86. I mean 86. I'm sorry. My mistake. Read the script wrong.
Came out before Dragon Ball. Gotcha.
Yes.
The manga.
Came out way before Yeah, of course. yeah. This came out years before Dragon Ball. This is an original movie that Toriyama just ripped off.
Akira Toriyama ripped this off.
Yes, exactly.
You could have done better.
I could have done. You keep saying that. I've never.
I don't hate this film, by the way.
Okay. Anyways,
there's a few sticking points we'll get to.
Yes. Box office at the Japanese box office. The film sold 2.4 million tickets and earned a net domestic rental income of 800 million yen. Convert that into 5 million. Its worldwide gross was $7.4 million. Not bad.
Not bad for a Japanese movie.
Yeah. That came out in 1986.
That definitely did not get a U.S. release at the time.
No. Because what I understand how Dragon Ball came...
Well, we'll get to that.
Was here. Yeah.
We will get to that.
Okay. So home release. This is interesting. How this movie has, went from one place to another, to another, to another, and to another. So we'll get into that in a second.
As stated, there were 4 dubs.
There's 4 dubs of this film. 4 of it. All right, so Curse of the Blood Ruby, originally titled Dragon Ball, the movie, later retitled Dragon Ball, The Legend of Shenron, was originally
before you go on, this is not a correction.
Okay.
But did it call it The Legend of Shenron or The Legend of Shenlong?
Shenron.
Okay, that's a slight English adaptation of what they actually called it.
Oh, okay.
Because the character's name, Shenron's name in Japanese is Shenlong.
Okay. Fair.
So I just wanted to put that out there.
Now you know.
And knowing it's half the battle.
It's apparently summoning dragons now. All right, so where was I? Licensed by Harmony Gold USA, the same guys who did Robotech way back in the day. Am I right?
You're right.
Okay, good.
I was just remembering stuff I've looked up about that dub.
Who dubbed and released the film in conjunction with Mystical Adventure, simply titled Dragon Ball. The dub aired on December 28th, 1989, as a special on television on WPST in Philly 52 and Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, in the United States. It was edited for content. Most of the characters' names were renamed.
We'll get to that.
The second English dub of Curse of the Blood Ruby was produced by Funimation as a pilot to sell Dragon Ball series for American syndication. Was originally premiered on syndication on September 9th, 1995, along with the first episode of Emperor Pilaf Saga, Secret of the Dragon Balls. Was released on VHS in North America by Trimark on December 26th to December 24th, 1996. Another dub of the film was produced for European markets by AB Group and dubbed in France, and aired in the UK as Legend of Shenron on Toonami UK in the summer of 2005. It was released on DVD as an alternate English track. In some European releases, it is likely that the cast used this version of the English speaking voice actors in Paris in Paris, France. On August 6, 2010, Funimation announced that Curse of the Blood Ruby would be released to the Volkner DVD. I'm going to butcher the name. On BIL? Bilingual. Thank you. Reading disorders are a pain in the butt, people.
Yes.
Bilingual. Thank you, Drew. Bilingual DVD on January 27th, 2010, but the release was delayed until December 28th, 2010. Funimation announced the voice cast for the new English dub of the film on December 12th, 2010. The 2010 English dub, mostly unedited, the only visual edits being the title and credit sequences. But the script was mostly recycled from the 1995 English dub, which itself was based on the 1989 dub script, with most of the notable change being all the character names reversed to their original names. The audio was recorded in Dallas, Texas. However, very, very few voice actors from Funimation English dub from the
original Dragon Ball dub.
Yeah, from the original reprise a role for this film, with their replacements for the dub replacements from the dub of Dragon Ball Z GT, in production at that time.
Was it GT or was it Kai?
No, Kai. It's what I meant to say, Kai. There's so many Dragon Ball series, not even funny.
I'm not correcting you to lord my knowledge over you. I'm wanting to make sure you actually get the right names out.
Yes.
Because I recognize there's a lot, and your reading disorder does not help.
No, it doesn't.
With all things.
But I'm actually doing fairly well.
You are doing very well.
Thank you.
I'm just listening and helping. I don't have any for you. I'm sorry.
Darn.
You had all the bacon last night.
That's true. All right. Let me go back to where the first sentence. With their replacements from the dub of Dragon Ball Z Kai in production at that time being used instead. The film contained the 2010 dub was later re-released in the Dragon Ball movie 4-pack, which I would assume this is the one you got.
Yes.
That was released on February 8th, 2011. Sequels. Is there a sequel to this film?
There is.
Okay.
And if you'll do me a favor and pick that box up off the floor, I will tell you what those sequels are.
There you go.
Thank you. The other movies that came out after this was Dragon Ball, Sleeping Princess and Devil's Castle, and Mystical Adventure, which came out within like a year of each other.
Okay.
Along with this film. And then the last one, The Path to Power, came out like right after Dragon Ball Z finished. There's plus, let's see, 6 Dragon Ball Z films.
Yeah.
No, there's more than that, because you got Dead Zone, you got Tree of Might, you got World's Strongest, you got the Broly trilogy. I'm just jumping ahead to get a couple of these out of there. Super Android 13, BoJack Unbound, and these are all the English names, by the way, not the original Japanese names. Plus like 2 specials, plus Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods, Dragon Ball Z Resurrection F, Dragon Ball Super Broly, and Dragon Ball Super Superhero. Plus, you got the actual animes that are coming around at the same time: Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, Dragon Ball Z Kai, Dragon Ball Super,
and GT,
and then Super Dragon Ball, which is another thing. I did leave out GT. I didn't intend that time. I did not intend to.
Yeah, you have a tendency of wanting to leave that out.
I did leave that out, because not only was there the GT series, there was a GT movie.
Yes, there was
that I don't know the name of. It's over there somewhere, but I don't know the name of it.
Of course, we have the movie
because I bought that series and never watched it. to complete the collection. I did not say we wouldn't. It's just in my mind. This no guarantee because we've already actually broke this because we started with the Dead Zone.
Yeah,
a couple years back.
Yeah,
I actually thought this would
go back and listen to that.
It would be fun for us to go through all the Dragon Ball film, Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, and Dragon Ball Kai films.
Yeah,
all of them, kind of in the order they came out.
Okay.
Just have the one that's out of order, kind of like we do with the Muppet films.
Yeah,
so we need to get back to that.
Yes, we do. Go watch or listen to the
Anywho,
what we did for those.
And then we are actually talking about watching a fan production of Dragon Ball, another one, certain shorter version. I don't know what that was.
Abridged.
Oh,
abridged.
I get it now because it was a bridge. Cute.
I can be every once in a while.
There's a Dragon Ball Z abridged quote that I'm not going to make because you missed it. When I said cute, you said I'm adorable. Anyways, is that all your info and stuff?
Yes, that's all of it. Like, you probably have a ton of information, but that's all I've got.
Well, let's hit the summary. The soldiers of King Gurumes are destroying the homes and lands of farmers within his kingdom to look for the blood rubies. In the Japanese version, these were called Richisuton or Rich Stones.
Oh, okay.
Spelled RITCH. So it's actually a name, not rich, but it's a pun on rich.
I got you.
Anyway, his two main enforcers are Pasta and Bongo, whom he has tasked with finding the Dragon Balls. Since finding the blood rubies, Gurumes has fallen under a curse that turned him into a large purple monster and makes his hunger insatiable. He hopes to wish the curse away with the Dragon Balls. A rebellious little girl named Pansy, after her father gets a brutal beating by Bongo in defending her, decides to go and find help. Goku, a young monkey-tailed boy with special strength, is living alone in the wilderness of Mount Paozu. While he's catching a giant fish, a blue-haired teenage girl named Bulma, who is also searching for the Dragon Balls with the help of a device called a Dragon Radar, runs into Goku. Thinking Bulma is a monster, Goku prepares to attack her, but Bulma convinces him that she is a human. After learning that Bulma is a girl, Goku tells her that his grandpa gave him a Dragon Ball before he died. Pasta and Bongo arrive at Goku's home and steals Dragon Ball, leaving a gold coin in its place. They flee in their fighter jet, but are defeated by Goku with his power pole. Later that night, Goku and Bulma find Pansy being accosted by a large monster named Oolong, who has the ability to shapeshift into any other form. Oolong flees when Goku proves his strength by destroying a large tree, but he chases the shapeshifter and, knocking him down with the power pole, finds out that his true form is that of a pig. While snapping at the curious Goku, Oolong freaks out when he suddenly realizes that they have landed in the territory of the evil desert bandit Yamcha.
Yamcha.
Then suddenly Yamcha and his sidekick Puar, Oolong's former classmate from the shapeshifting school where he was expelled for stealing the teacher's undergarments, attacks the duo. This was in the film.
I know.
Goku battles Yamcha through weapon fighting, which later moves on to their special moves such as Yamcha's Wolf Fang Fist and Goku's Jenken, aka Rock Paper Scissors moves.
Oh.
But their duel is cut short when Bulma arrives. Yamcha has a paralyzing fear of beautiful women. Upon seeing Bulma and chipping off his tooth after crashing down from the cliff where he and Goku are standing on to fight, he and Puar retreat. In Oolong's campout, Pansy tells Bulma that the others about her people's plight and how she must find the great Master Roshi the Turtle Hermit to help her put a stop to King Gurumes' cruelty. But little do the group know is that Yamcha and Puar have returned, overhearing everything about the Dragon Balls. The next day, Yamcha and Puar prepare for their trip to Master Roshi's island or to get rid of Goku and his friends while going after the Dragon Balls for themselves. As part of this scheme, Yamcha vows that he will wish away his shyness around girls so he can either get married or have a few dates. Despite Puar's protest over the unnecessary choice of needing all the treasures of ruling the world, back at his palace, King Gurumes now possesses 5 of the Dragon Balls and ensures that the last 2 will go next. The team arrives at Master Roshi's island, but Yamcha has arrived first and tricked Roshi into thinking Goku is there to steal his shell. This is so dumb a plot point and is not one of the ones they stole.
Agreed.
To find out who is telling the truth, Roshi summons the Flying Nimbus Cloud, a magic cloud which only an honored person can ride. After Roshi's failed attempt as a demonstration, Goku suddenly rides it. Yamcha flees again, vowing that he will be back. Master Roshi also says that he will give Bulma his Dragon Ball, but only if she shows him her assets. In order to avoid Roshi, Bulma uses Oolong to transform into her in order to trick the Turtle Hermit, and it works. But Pasta and Bongo arrive in a submarine and attack the island. One of Bulma's 2 Dragon Balls is stolen, and Roshi's house is destroyed. Again. Angered by the destruction of his house, Roshi powers up and uses the Kamehameha to destroy the submarine, while Pasta and Bongo flee in an escape jet. Pansy asks Roshi to help her defeat King Gurames, but he declines and assures Pansy that Goku and Bulma will be all the help she needs. That night at King Gurames's palace, I'm going to jump back because this left out an important plot point. Goku was able to recreate the Kamehameha just by watching it the one time.
Yeah, that was funny.
That's a plot point stolen from the manga. But anyway, that night at King Gurames's palace, Pasta states her report about the arrival of the final Dragon Ball, much to her master's delight. The next day, the team journey to King Gurames's palace and are immediately attacked by the King's Air Force. Bulma, Oolong, and Pansy are shot down while Goku has an aerial duel with Bongo, in which the monkey-tailed fighter destroys Bongo's hovercraft. Yamcha and Puar also arrive and infiltrate the palace. When they meet up with the group, Yamcha is attacked by Pasta, who is unable to fight back because of his phobia of beautiful women, and they flee with Pasta in hot pursuit. Goku defeats Bongo by knocking him through a wall with his power pole, and they all end up in King Gurumes's throne room. Fueled by both his own curse and hunger, Gurames grows to his gigantic size before the very eyes of the group, and after crushing Bongo flat, he attacks Goku to get the last Dragon Ball. Goku tries the Kamehameha, which he had already learned from Master Roshi, but it fails to destroy him. Bulma realizes the other 6 Dragon Balls are inside Gurumes's stomach, so she throws her Dragon Ball into his mouth. Shenron erupts from Gurumes's body and offers to grant one wish. Pansy wishes for her land to be peaceful and beautiful again. Shenron then removes all the blood rubies and makes the land fertile again. Gurames is reduced to a small, bald, naked man. Yamcha and Bulma decide to date, and Goku, after returning the gold coin to Pasta, heads off to Master Roshi's island to train with the Turtle Hermit.
So, really quick question: What do you? Because you mentioned that Yamcha has a fear of beautiful women.
Yes.
What is that phobia called?
I don't know.
There actually is a
Yamcha-phobia.
Yamcha-phobia. No, it's actually Venus trypophobia.
Oh, I could see that.
Yeah. So yeah, if you're scared to death of beautiful women, yeah, that's you.
Anyway, in terms of the dates of the original, we're into the trivia now. In terms of the dates of original Japanese publication, this is actually the first time in the entire Dragon Ball franchise where it is shown that summoning the Eternal Dragon turns the sky dark. Which is no small contribution to the mythos, seeing as this will be turned into a major plot point during the battle on planet Namek, when Krillin deduces that the Dragon Balls had not yet been used because of that. When Emperor Pilaf summoned the dragon in the original anime and manga, it was already night, and this movie was released in Japan a few weeks before Goku, in the manga, would summon Shenron to revive Bora during the second Dragon Ball Search arc. Bora was a kind of a Native American looking guy, who lived at the base of what is the name of the cat? Because now all I could think of is another name, and that's not his real name. Korin, yeah, he lives at the base of Korin's tower.
Oh, okay.
And that's how Goku learns about Korin and the Senzu beans and all that later on. But the Red Ribbon Army killed Bora, and this would be right before Goku would summon Shenron to revive him, before near the end of the second arc.
Gotcha.
It has never been confirmed whether Akira Toriyama suggested this to the movie producers, whether Toriyama was inspired by the movie to include this in the main continuity, or if Toriyama already had this planned and it was a freak coincidence that the movie also had the same idea. This movie was used as the basis for the live-action Chinese knockoff film Dragon Ball: The Magic Begins.
There's a knockoff of this?
China has a knockoff bootleg of this film.
Really?
And it's live action.
Oh, too funny.
And my understanding is it's better than Evolution. I have not seen it, so I can't say.
That's a lot to be said.
Yeah. The 2010 English dub of this film marked the first time Colleen Clinkenbeard voiced Goku in a full-time speaking role, replacing Stephanie Nadolny, who voiced Kid Goku in flashback scenes from episode 1 of Dragon Ball Z Kai. There are 4 English dubs of this film, as we talked about.
Yes.
The Harmony Gold dub from 89, the BLT/Kidmark/Funimation in 1995,
Gotcha.
the AB Group dub in 2003, and the Funimation Uncut dub in 2010. These are the same dub groups who actually dubbed most of Dragon Ball in their in different sections throughout franchise history.
Okay.
The AB Group dub is also known among the fandom as the Big Green dub.
Okay.
Would you like to know why?
Why?
So all these had a tendency to change character names for unknown reasons.
Yeah.
And the AB Group, for some reason, decided that Piccolo should have a different name
I heard about this.
and named him Big Green.
Oh, that totally makes sense now.
Explains some stuff from Dragon Ball Z Abridged too, doesn't
Yes,
it?
it does. I was like, why are they calling him Big Green?
Or little green. Yeah. So yeah, that's but as I said, a lot of these dubs would end up changing names from the original. The Harmony Gold dub name changes are pretty interesting. Pansy was known as Penny in the original version.
Okay.
Not too crazy.
No.
Poir was known as Squeaker.
Squeaker. Okay.
Yes.
Makes sense.
Yamcha was Zadaki.
Yamcha's better.
Yeah, I agree. Oolong was named Mau Mau
Okay.
because in the original character art, when he was first introduced as in pig form,
Yeah.
he was wearing a communist China uniform.
Oh, that makes
And
sense.
so he looked a lot like Mao Zedong as a pig.
That makes sense.
Bulma was known as Lena. And Goku was named Zero. And
Goku was named Zero?
Yes.
Was he a ghost dog?
No. But he did go to Hero. But do you know who voiced Goku in that original dub?
Who?
None other than Barbara Goodson, aka Rita Repulsa.
Oh, I have such a headache.
And now I need to find a I need to take some audio from Rita Repulsa and overlay it over Goku.
No. It'd be funny as all out, but no.
The thing is, it doesn't just have to be kid Goku. I could do it over adult Goku, especially the Super Saiyan scene.
Yeah, all the lip flap.
You don't have to be perfect with the lip flaps. I ain't Team 4-star. Anyway, that's the end of my trivia.
Oh my gosh.
What is your first like for this film?
My first like of this film. It is a fun little film. Like there again, had never seen this film. It was a fun little adventure. Getting to meet these characters for the first time in their actually original form, not from the series, but this movie.
A similar form.
A similar form. There we go. Much better. Much similar form. And it's a fun, quirky little film that you get to meet like I would think most of the original cast from that show.
Yeah.
Okay. So
pretty much, because I mean, in the first arc, you start off, of course, with just Goku and Bulma. Roshi and Turtle come up pretty quick.
Yeah.
Oolong is like the next chapter.
Yeah.
Yamcha and Poir show up like right around that same time. And then for the most part, that's your cast until Krillin shows up.
Okay.
In terms of main cast.
Yeah.
Granted, Pilaf, Amai, and Shu, the villains of that first arc, they will continue showing up all the way to Super.
Yeah.
Actually, I think they were in Superhero, weren't they?
They
Those
were
characters. So yeah.
So yeah, just a nice little fun little adventure. Be like it introduces characters, and yeah, I'll get that in my second like. So what's your first like?
This dub, I appreciate for feeling, well, it is uncut. It feels like it's part of the original Dragon Ball.
Okay.
And here's the reason I say that. This came out in 2010.
Yeah.
They were neck deep in, if not recording Dragon Ball Z Kai at this point.
They were.
And Dragon Ball Z Kai is an entirely different animal than anything they really did before. You'd think it'd be similar to Dragon Ball Z, and there are considerations, but Dragon Ball Z Kai is a much more accurate to the original manga thing. It's a little more ironically serious than I think even the original one. A little more oomph, a little more really aimed at teenagers. They could have easily done this movie in the kind of the same feel as Dragon Ball Z Kai, and we actually got something that feels like, no, this is a movie from the original. We did it as the original. Even the weird little acting choices are there. The stuff that, all these actors and actresses, like two of these people, it's the first time they're either the first time or one of the first times they're voicing these characters that they're later go on and voice in Kai and Super. And this is the first time they did it, and they all sound like, in a strange way, they replicated the amateurness of the original dub in a way that I liked the feel of. It felt like I was watching an extension of the original show.
Okay.
And that's what I appreciate. They didn't try to update this. They didn't try to use the modern day dubbing sensibilities. They made this like it was dubbed in 1995, but they kept it uncut.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that.
I would agree with you.
They even used the original. They could have taken the English. They could use the original Japanese songs for Mystical Adventure at the beginning and whatever the name of the ending thing was, which are that's the same songs the anime used.
Yeah,
they could use those Japanese versions, but no, they had to go probably dig deep in their archives to find the audio from when they dubbed Dragon Ball to use those songs in this. And it's like, and I don't think it worked too well with the ending theme because there's a really bad echo on her that's not in the original. But it just felt like, no, we could have updated this. We could have made it like a far better dub in reality.
Yeah.
But we wanted to let it have the same feel as the other 3 Dragon Ball movies and the show.
Yeah.
So we made something of that feel.
Okay.
And I appreciate that. Nice. Granted, this is probably the last thing they did with that original feel. Because Kai, Super, and all the other films, they are all more of the modern Dragon Ball feel, more of the, yes, there's comedy, but the acting is so much better.
Yeah.
After that, this is still like we're a small company who got lucky enough to make the dub, and they actually replicated that feel very well.
Yeah,
I know that's a weird thing to appreciate about this film, but as a fan, it was nice from a nostalgic point of view.
Yeah,
to see this old method.
Totally understand that, and I agree. Like the dub itself is very well done, and it feels like something that would have been done in 1995 or the late 80s.
Or even early 2000s.
Or the early 2000s, where it wasn't going to shy away from certain subjects. And because our more modern audience is like, oh, no, you can't talk about that. But they talked about it because it was in the original film, which I appreciate.
I mean, yeah, obviously they knew this was
with it, but they talked about it.
They knew this wasn't going to be aimed at kids, and they knew people wanted as close to the original Japanese version in dubs.
Yeah.
Even at that time, they were wanting that. So that's why they went ahead and did the more explicit, let's say,
oh my god,
choices.
Yes,
but that's what all the people they knew were buying it would have wanted anyway, because the original show they did have to sell towards kids. This they didn't have to sell towards kids. They let it still have the kid feel, but they made it for the teenagers and the adults.
Okay,
so it felt like original Dragon Ball.
Okay, fair enough. And I have not watched.
That's my feeling.
Okay, so to follow my second I'm going to parry this, or going to give a fair warning that there again, I have not watched all or most of Dragon Ball. I have seen Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, Kai, some of the movies. I've seen the Super films, and I've seen a little bit of Dragon Ball Super. So put that with a grain of salt when I say this. For my number 2, it's not necessarily like, to watch this movie, you don't necessarily have to watch Dragon Ball.
I agree with that.
So for someone who's coming in fresh with fresh eyes, and I don't have all the nostalgia for Dragon Ball, I have nostalgia for everything else. It's like, oh, okay, this is interesting.
Yeah.
This is again.
You don't have to have any pre-knowledge of
Exactly,
the
because
show.
it puts it all in front of you. And I enjoy that. I tremendously enjoy that because there. So yes, I enjoy the film for what it is. I enjoy that you can just watch the film. It tells you who people are, what they're doing, all their motives and motivations, the whole bit. And it's not be like, oh, you need to go back and watch the original show to understand anything going on now like this, because there's movies like that, and it's nice to know that you can watch a movie, you can watch a film like this movie Dragon Ball, the first Dragon Ball movie, and you don't instantly have to like have the encyclopedia pulled up to know who these characters are.
I will agree with you. That's nice to have that. I will say, and this will come up in my dislikes.
Okay.
I will say they could have done a better job.
Okay.
But we'll get to that. We'll get there when we get there.
I would agree in some capacities, yes.
My second like for this is the accuracy of artwork.
Okay. Yeah, agreed.
In some cases they are mimicking the artwork from the original show.
Okay.
In certain cases, because a lot of this, like, this is in some ways an alternate universe retelling of the first arc in some ways. So of course, while they never actually quote unquote, except for the opening, the opening theme song, they never just cut video or animation from the TV cartoon and put it on the big screen and put it on the film. Yeah. They did go in and reanimate like pretty much everything, but there are some things where they had to have gone back to the manga in some cases. Like, here's an interesting little tidbit.
Yeah.
Oolong's RV has a giant number on it.
Okay.
Is a number 8. Do you know why there's a giant number 8 on the RV?
No idea.
Because in the original manga, that RV was only seen on the title page of that chapter, and it was marking that it was chapter 8, and so it wasn't technically quote unquote in universe an 8 on there. It was more like this is like a nice little artistic thing that Akira Toriyama is doing, and they went and replicated the 8s onto the thing in the show because it's like obvious that 8 is there for no apparent reason in this movie other than they just replicated the RV from the original manga exactly the way it was drawn.
So watching that scene where Oolong, the pig.
Yeah, his name is a pun on a type of tea.
Okay, so
Oolong tea.
Oolong the pig. Oolong.
Yes. A lot of the names at this point were based on food.
Yes.
Except for Bulma.
Yeah.
Her name is a pun on underwear.
Oh, of course. I'll get that by the dislikes. But when I saw that van, I was like, okay, it's April O'Neil's van. Where is she? Because she's from Channel 8.
Close.
Channel 9, actually.
I know. I mean, it's not April O'Neil's van, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. But it just reminded me of that.
Also, a lot of the vehicles, there was actually a lot of bits and pieces of artwork that you'll see Bulma ride that technically she never rode in the manga. Okay. But they were used as like chapter art pieces at the beginning of chapters sometimes, or the covers of the collections. And that's where they pulled a lot of some of that too. Little things that they didn't have to add, but of course they were having to pull from everywhere for art because they had, granted, they had 2 years of manga to base this on, but there's only a short amount of time where the characters were wearing these outfits. Yeah. Because once you get to the next arc in the story, the one where Goku's training with Roshi in the first World Martial Arts Tournament, that's where we start seeing the costumes we're used to these characters wearing, with Goku and Yamcha with the orange gi that they wear throughout the rest of the franchise. Oolong, I think, is around that time, goes to his wife beater and stays in that for the rest of the franchise, and different things like that. Okay. So they had little to pull from in terms of character designs, and they used as much as they could. They pulled from everywhere they could at this point where the art was more comedic in drawing and a lot less, full actiony.
Yeah.
Anyway,
All right. So my third and final dislike about this film was surprising Yamcha. I was there again, had never seen this film.
I intentionally did not tell you about Yamcha.
I was so in the dark about this film. So be like,
and since you had never watched the original show, you never knew he was like the first real villain.
Yeah.
He's technically the second villain because Oolong was the first quote unquote villain that turned to the side of friends.
Yeah.
Of fellow Z Warriors, despite the fact Oolong never fought after this arc ever again. But yeah, Yamcha was the first of the Z Warriors after Goku.
Yeah. Interesting.
The weakest one.
My gosh. So speaking of the weakest fighter of the bunch, and who gets parodied all like slow stinking time in a bridge is hilarious.
Because by the time you get to Z, he is a joke.
Yeah, agree.
He's a very strong character, but even Krillin has surpassed him because Krillin's fighting with Goku all the time.
Yeah.
Every other fighter is stronger than Krillin stronger than Yamcha.
Yeah.
In the franchise.
Yeah. So
yeah, he gets beat on a lot.
Yeah. So going into that, be like you meet Yamcha as a villain who just wants to take these guys out, and he beats the crap out of Goku.
Yeah, they're an even match.
What in the world is this?
They're an even match at the beginning. That's the same in the show, in the manga and the anime. They're an even match, and Goku barely can keep up with them.
Yeah, that was the biggest surprise. I'll be like, thank you for not spoiling that for me. It was just so. I was tickled. I was like, oh my gosh, can we get this somewhere else? Besides this one film.
No,
like Yamcha should be able to get a win out of something instead of becoming this prolonged joke about everything.
He does get a focus episode in Super where he actually does win.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good to know.
Which is immediately pulled out from under him.
Poor Yamcha. But hey, at least he got some a day in the sun.
I don't
with this movie or in the television series, but I thoroughly enjoyed this pleasant surprise of Yamcha beating the crap out of Goku. I was like, yes, someone did it. And I was pleasantly surprised. I would watch that every single day. Someone's gonna.
I will say
Goku is not invincible.
Technically, Goku has lost more times than people remember.
Yeah, it's true.
If we're being honest,
true.
It's just
it was funny.
He's got reasons.
Get beat by Yamcha.
Now, I will say that episode of Super where Yamcha actually does win. Like I said, the rug gets pulled out from under him in the last couple minutes, which is a bit annoying.
Yeah,
it's because of the joke. Because it is a baseball episode. He went on to play baseball at the beginning of Z.
Okay,
and apparently that's how he's been making. That's how he makes his money all the way through Z when he's not trying not to get killed or being dead.
Yeah.
But he is going up against. He's on the pitcher's mound and he does his wolf fang and pitches the baseball with his wolf fang fist. And unfortunately, who he was pitching the ball to was able to actually hit it, and it came back and hit him.
Oh, geez.
And he landed on the pitcher's mound in the exact same pose with the ball in the same spot as the Cyberman hand. As when he got blown up in the crater.
Gosh.
It's just he's on the mound instead of in a crater, but it looks like he looks like they went back and traced it. So it's like,
Poor
I
Yamcha.
get the joke. It's funny, but he won one. Let him win one. He's the biggest joke in the series, but he's also one of the nicer characters in this.
Yeah, agreed.
He is one of the turtle hermits. He's of the turtle school. Why does he get his butt whooped so much? Sorry. Anyway,
I'll be like,
he is stronger than Roshi by that point. So
okay,
because Roshi plateaued.
I enjoyed this tremendously. That watching Yamcha beat Goku, and the guy actually wins. Like, yeah, he runs away quite a bit in this movie, and
No, this is just how his character was at the time.
Exactly.
He was a bandit. He was trying to get away with. He was trying to be smart about fighting Goku since he knew they was on par with Goku at that time, and that Goku could easily overpower him in the right circumstances. So he's trying to be strategic about it.
Yes.
He does that a lot more in the manga than he did in the movie. Is what I'm saying. So
yes, I enjoyed that. Yamcha was he was a powerful character. He beat Goku in one scene, which I thoroughly enjoyed. And yes, I was pleasantly surprised by Yamcha's appearance in this movie.
Yeah, because after this, when Yamcha shows up, he actually, especially during the last bit of the Pilaf arc, he and Bulma kind of act as kind of like the older siblings to Goku in a lot of ways.
Oh, okay.
In terms of types of characters.
Yeah.
Anyway, my third like for this film.
Okay.
I love this theme song. I know that's weird. I'm primarily thinking of the English theme because I don't think that, despite the fact it's the Japanese theme is the same melody, but it's got different lyrics, I don't think it hits as well. But this theme song to this is just kind of so much fun to kind of sing along to.
Okay.
I was happy that we actually got the full thing here with the original animation. It's like, oh man, if I'd have gotten to see that on a theater screen, I would have been happy. But because this is actually good animation for an opening.
Yeah.
For a TV opening from this era. So even though it like spoils like half of it and most of what happens in that opening is not in this movie, like the fact like the giant monkey that Goku turns into that's in the opening, because that's Goku when destroying the castle in the opening as the monkey. And so it was nice to see that, and it's like just to see this nice little not really upscaled, but obviously this would have been, well, the original anime that we got over here was like transferred off 16 millimeter film. You can tell this is from 35, and even though it's the same animation, it looks good. It looked great to watch, and I like how the transition of the Dragon Ball logo into the actual bum 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 ba-dum, ba-ba-dum, bum bum, and it's right into the animation, and you can't even see the cut, even though there's no way they match that red exactly. But anyway, yeah, I love the way they use the opening of the anime in this film.
Okay.
The ending could have been better because wherever Funimation pulled that audio from had not been a good copy of that ending theme song. But anyway, so dislikes.
Go for it.
I want to start off with my dislike, if that's okay. My first dislike for this film is the fact that so many of the jokes and plot points of this film, they're not just reused from the original anime and manga. They are picked up wholesale, almost where they could have just cut the audio from the original anime and put it here, and you probably couldn't have told a difference.
Yes.
I recognize that this movie was primarily meant as a sales for probably the original Japanese VHSs. For those who had missed like the TV show was there, and as an advertisement for the TV show. I understand that's what the entire point of this film was, but in my mind, if you are going to make a film that is separate continuity and separate storyline from what you're doing in the TV show, animate some original stuff.
Yeah.
I understand using characters from stuff, but do some original animation. Yeah, reintroduce Oolong in a similar way, but have him transform into different things than the same things Akira Toriyama had him transform into in the manga and in the anime. Don't rehash the entire thing of Oolong and Puar going to the same shape-shifting school and why Oolong got thrown out. Granted, they did a little bit of this with Roshi. Okay. Because Roshi is only in this movie for like, 5-10 minutes at most. Yeah. His entire section here is cut up from both of his appearances in the original anime because he's got a large split in there from when they first meet Roshi, like in like episode 3 to when he shows up with Chi-Chi and Ox King in like episode 8 or 9.
Okay.
There's a fairly large gap in there. So they pulled from both of his appearances. So they did a little bit of creativity and they had to, and everything with the first Kamehameha was original because they didn't, you know, the Kamehameha in this, he shot a submarine.
Yeah.
In the manga, and in the anime, he was trying to blast it above Ox King's castle so the wind would suck the fire away that was continually burning it, and he missed and hit the castle.
Oops.
Because that's where the Dragon Ball was. That's why Goku went. And of course, Ox King is Chi-Chi's dad. So that's where that plot point comes in. But of course, Chi-Chi's not in this film.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I wish they had just done a little bit better job. If you're going to be doing an original story, go crazy. Don't. I get that you're adapting the story, and maybe you can still adapt the story, but don't pull the stuff like verbatim. Don't do the actions exactly the same way, and do basically the same general outline of this movie. Because I think the outline is a pretty decent. Yeah, pretty decent film here.
Yeah.
And admittedly, you probably don't notice this because you didn't watch the original anime. I'm noticing it because, right. I thought I'm saying don't introduce the characters as if no one knows them because you really should be you should be introducing these characters as if audience has no idea who these people are.
Yeah.
But for those of us who did watch the original show and are watching this film, change it up, mix it up, do something slightly different so that it actually feels more like an original story.
Yeah.
Instead of badly not badly, but very cheaply rehashing half of the plot.
Okay.
Granted, you're doing basically Akira Toriyama has basically lifted wholesale half of that first story arc from Journey to the West. So I mean, yeah, I get it, but he actually wrote like original stuff around all these plot points. This movie kind of just took the plot points from the anime and set them down and rearranged them. It's like Lego sets in a kind of a weird order. It looks all the same, but it's different enough that it feels weird.
Okay.
And that's my first dislike. Geek Devotions, we'll talk about Dragon Ball Evolution later. In fact, if y'all ever do that on the bottom shelf, call me. So what's your first dislike?
My first dislike, like, granted, I understand it's the 80s. This was animation back then. They could get away with a lot of crap. But it's just more like Master Roshi is such a,
This is a character point that is in the manga.
Yes.
It is at its worst at this point.
Okay.
Between this movie and the anime and the manga, this whole story arc is where it's at its worst.
Yes.
Because Akira Toriyama assumed that his 1 year of working on this arc was all he was ever going to make.
Yeah.
And then he'd go on to another project. So he was having fun.
Yeah.
He was doing his whole comedy thing from when he did Dr. Slump, his previous work.
Yes.
And this was his way of doing that here with having the dirty old man make dirty old man jokes.
Yeah.
But I agree with you.
Yes. I feel like it is. I feel like it's understandable. Like,
What I'm saying is Roshi gets not necessarily less perverted, but he gets less chances to act.
Yes.
After this arc.
Yes.
A couple little more in the next one, but that's just because, well, Akira Toriyama gave a weapon against that in that next arc. We'll just say that.
Okay. All right.
A character that never made it to Z, but really that's a sad thing.
Okay. All right. So, it's just Master Roshi as a character. He's very perverted. And it was the fact to be like he's always asking Bulma to do something
disgusting.
Yeah, disgusting or something like that. And obviously they make a joke out of it where we're like, Oolong, thank you. Oolong is disguised herself as Bulma. But like it's a funny scene, but at the same time, be like, Bulma's a teenage girl.
So
what in the world are you thinking?
Can I make you annoyed?
Okay, yes.
At that point, when she gets Oolong to transform into her in
Yes.
the anime and in the manga,
Yes.
she is wearing a Playboy bunny outfit.
Okay. Fair.
Because in the trying to catch Oolong originally, or sometime right after that, her last pair of clothes got destroyed or wet, or some reason she couldn't wear them, and the only pair of women's clothes that Oolong had in her size was a Playboy bunny girl outfit.
Okay, that's not helping.
No, it's not. I admit. And she wears that pretty much until they get to Peel Off.
Oh, okay.
Which is real funny in that episode with the Rabbit Mafia.
I got you. I am not there again. There.
I'm not. I'm sorry. I jumped on you again. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm not trying. I'm not trying to say. I don't even know what I'm trying to say now. Go. I can't talk.
No, you're good.
I can't think of what I was going to say.
Like, it's just,
It's not good.
yeah, I agree. It's not good. It's not good. It's funny for the time period. It's not be like, no, I'm not trying to be culturally sensitive here. I'm not.
Yeah.
But it's just more like when you're dealing with, and again, it's supposed to be a funny gag. I get it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't involve Bulma herself.
And
It
it's
just involves
annoying.
her clone, and it's just, you know, it's
Yeah.
it's done in very poor taste, but funny. But at the same time, it's just like it's very cringy to me. And it's
I
just like,
agree.
yeah. So yeah, it's just
There's actually a worse moment with Roshi and her.
oh yeah.
Like I said, I have no defense for Akira Toriyama with this. He was just, this is the kind of stuff that was considered like kids material in Japan. They made these jokes all the time at the time.
Yeah.
This was not
Fair.
Culturally. This was fair game.
Fair.
And Akira Toriyama took advantage of that for as long as he could. Granted, they could not show these episodes or this movie to kids today.
Yeah.
Because even Japan's gotten a little more conservative
Okay.
with their with this stuff since then.
Yeah.
In fact, in some ways, they're actually worse than America is on some of this. But that's why with Kai, they actually had to do some editing around like different points. But either way,
Yeah.
am I on the second dislike?
Your second dislike.
Yeah, my second dislike is pretty much what you just brought up.
Okay. Good.
Look, I get culturally why he did it.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
And it's not because I'm a prude.
No.
It's not that I don't find. Okay, I don't find any of the stuff, any of the jokes where Bulma or her clone get exposed funny.
Yeah.
I don't find any of those funny.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff that's kind of dirty-ish that leads up to that, actually, some of that is funny. It's not clean, but I mean, it's doable. It's not crossed that line, but. And this is just how Akira Toriyama was in a lot of his early work. And because it was allowed. No one said anything.
Yeah.
It was not a problem.
Time periods, understand.
Right. But looking back on it, I don't like it.
Okay.
And I actually wish I could have thought to give you that warning. I think I gave you a warning
You did.
about it when I brought the movie over to you, but I wish I was able to explain how really bad it was without spoiling anything.
It's all good.
Because I still wanted this to be a fresh movie for you.
Yes, agreed. Thank you. Thank you.
So what's your second dislike?
My second dislike. I'm going I'm going off the seat of my pants with this one because I didn't write one down. It's too short of a film. Be like, I understand. Be like, where these are short films, and they're not to be, you know, as like deep in depth kind of films. Be like the villain is like, okay, he wants these rubies, and like he's the evil, he's a bad guy. But there's like, and he gets turned into a slug or whatever because
monster, basically. It's a generic monster.
Generic monster, and like a lot of the story itself really be like. It's like, okay, once we get into the villain and like his motivations and blah blah blah, he wants to be immortal, right?
No, he's wanting to wish his curse away.
That's right. He's wished his curse away because
it's actually not a bad wish for him.
It's not. It's not a really bad wish. But there's a lot of this, like the story itself is kind of just muddled muddled in a lot of
Yeah.
ways. And like towards the third act of this film, it's very muddled. But so you have a lot of great story building going up forward into the third act, and the third act is just kind of muddled. So third act's kind of muddled.
I will say that third act is the one where it deviates the most from the manga because you're going on and using whole different characters.
Yeah.
And yeah, you don't even get anything that mimics Giant Monkey Goku at the end of this film, which honestly I kind of understand. At the same time, slightly disappointment.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you. This is probably going to be my third dislike. Is the film is too crammed into an hour.
Yeah, agreed.
The film really needs about another half hour to really hash out a lot of its plot points. This is cramming like an entire arc's worth of story into an hour of a film. I'm surprised it's as clean as it is.
Yeah.
But it really does feel like it was rushed into this thing. And it feels like granted, they probably only had, I'm guessing, 6 months to work on this total. Maybe. So, because the anime had only been going on a year at this point.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I wish it could have been, they could have stretched this out, actually made it a full, like, movie, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
This really feels like it was a TV special in a lot of ways.
Fair.
I just wish there was, if with introducing these original characters and still doing the parts of the plot line from the anime, I wish they could have just made it move together more organically and not feel as rushed.
Yeah, agreed.
So yeah, that's my third dislike. You have one.
I do have a third dislike.
Okay.
Now, knowing I had watched Dragon Ball Z. Granted, I was in football, so every time we had a break, it was like, okay, guys, you've got 30, 45 minutes before you go in the field. So eventually, someone would bring a VHS, back in the day before DVD, or even a DVD of the latest episode of Dragon Ball Z from Toonami. So you'd watch that. It's like, oh my gosh, this is really cool. So that's the way I watched Dragon Ball Z for the longest time. So it'd be like watching it, I think in the Kai form, I believe, they mention that, or even in this movie, they mention that Goku's father, Gohan,
Grandpa
Gohan is killed. And I'm like, oh crap. I'm like, oh man, be like, you got stomped by a monkey.
They introduced the fact that Grandpa Gohan got killed, and did absolutely nothing to explain how that happened, and that's a major plot point of the first story arc.
I agree.
It's a major plot point,
and it's like with hindsight of watching Dragon Ball Z and understanding what happened to Grandpa Gohan, it's like, poor Grandpa Gohan. He got stomped by his own adopted son in a monkey farm.
His grandson, but yes,
grandson.
He went with grandson.
Oh,
There is that much age difference.
Oh, okay. But still, it's just like, and I'll be like, that's my third dislike. But I want to throw a little bonus in there. It's like, okay, I did not realize where the Nimbus Cloud came from.
Yeah, and I will say that's one of the things they lifted wholesale from the manga and anime that actually worked.
Okay.
It worked better there, I think, than some of the others.
And of course, Master Roshi couldn't hop on it because he's not pure of heart.
Yes,
I was like, oh, that's funny.
But unfortunately, because they're already at the thing where they're going to do the big Kamehameha wave.
Yeah,
we don't get to see how Roshi replaces the Nimbus now that he can no longer ride it with Mini Gamera.
Oh, I heard about this.
Yeah. He actually prefers Gamera to Godzilla, Akira Toriyama does, and so made Mini Gamera, and technically he's allowed to use Mini Gamera, despite the fact it should probably be illegal.
Well, good to know.
He's actually writing him on like the loading screen of one of the Dragon Ball Z Budokai games.
That's hilarious.
But yeah,
rating this thing,
I'm giving it a 7.
Give it a 7. Okay,
it's good, but I have to dock at points for unoriginality in a lot of the storytelling and just some of the things from that time period that I would dock even the original show for.
Yeah.
It's just, some elements of those either didn't age well or probably was a bad decision to put it there in the first place. But I was barely alive at this point, so I was not the one this was actually aimed at till much later.
Right.
So yeah, 7.
Okay.
It's a good film. It's just not, hitting anything out of the ballpark.
I got you. Yeah, 7 for me as well. It's a good, fun little adventure. It's nothing that you have to grab your Dragon Ball Z dictionary. It's probably about that big, the size of like a family Bible or something like that. And,
thankfully, no.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Like how much lore there is in Dragon Ball now. It's like, yeah, that'd be,
Actually, there's not that much, but
okay.
Continuing.
Anyways, so yeah, I enjoyed it. I'd be like, yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's been like they wouldn't do now, but I appreciate what they did with the film itself, with actually going with this dub is going in and using the jokes they did back in 1986, and using original material and the whole bit. I appreciate that. The story itself drags. Like Drew said earlier, if they would have tacked another 30 minutes on this film to give it more, flesh the story out a little bit more, it would have been much better. I'll probably give it a better rating. But overall, it's just a 7. It's a fun little film. If you haven't seen Dragon Ball, be like, this is probably a good little start, little start into Dragon Ball itself. Now, granted, if you've watched Dragon Ball Z and all the other stuff, this would be, it's a nice little like, oh, okay, this is where Goku starts. This is where Bulma starts. This is where Yamcha. Be like, Yamcha, oh my gosh, I love Yamcha in this film. Even though be like he's scared of women and like he's just a thief and he actually beats Goku, which was actually just like, yes.
Barely,
but still he beats him. But
I mean, really, it comes more to a draw because Bulma walked out.
Fair.
But anyway.
Yeah, anyways, I'm giving it a 7.
So next week is another Cellcast Plus episode.
Yes.
We are going to be reviewing Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb. We may have a guest coming on. I have not gotten confirmation from him yet, but keep an eye out for that. We'll be reviewing that next week. It is not a movie for kids. I watched.
It's a classic film.
It's a classic one. I watched it originally, I think, in junior high, and I think I might have been a little too young even at that age.
Okay,
so
I'm looking forward to it. I haven't seen the film. Be like there again. I've seen clips from it because obviously it's a classic film. It has shaped the movie industry for what it is, and yeah, I can't wait to watch this. When was this movie made? 1950,
60 something.
Okay. So yeah, looking forward to that.
Hang on.
As Drew types.
I'm checking something. Okay. So join us on the other side of the break, and we're going to talk about what we've been watching, news, assuming we have any.
Yes.
And then we're going to be talking about some X-Men.
Sneak.
Oh, I just got confirmation from Geek Devotions. We do have a guest next week.
Whoop, whoop.
Dallas is joining us, so join us for that. Anyway, I almost played the wrong thing.
This podcast is a proud member of Culture Box. Whether you enjoy geeky reviews, comedy, or original fiction, you can open up the Culture Box and find something excellent for your soul. Point your web browser to culturebox.media.
This week, we suggest checking out Stunning and Brave, where each week hosts Chris Cowan of the Babylon Bee and Nate Henderson of Some Boring Budgeting Job confess their privilege, spotlight stunning social media posts, and fabricate outrage, all while keeping you super woke and enlightened. They will make you laugh. That's right. You have no choice. Check out Stunning and Brave at stunningandbrave.net.
The Cellcast would like to thank the following patrons: Ashley and Francisco Ruiz, Book of Gaming, pauljpowers.com.
And I gotta take this name off, so don't
Get
listen
your name
to
on
it.
the show, plus uncut episodes, early access to the Cellcast Plus reviews, and special art from Jacob. Please donate to us on Patreon.
I'm working on it.
So, Jacob, I have a question for you, my friend.
What have you been watching?
What have I been watching? Well, it's kind of related to the movie we just reviewed, which would be Dragon Ball Z Abridged on YouTube.
Ah,
So, I mean, like,
which part of Dragon Ball Z Abridged?
I am at the very beginning of the Cell games. Very, very beginning.
Okay,
So,
I don't think if you're going through the playlist,
Mhm.
I don't think they included these, which is a crying shame.
okay.
But on Team 4 Stars thing, there is a set of verses that take place like as if these were contestants in the Cell games.
Okay.
And it's characters from different things.
Okay.
You really should watch all of them.
Oh, okay. I gotcha. So I think I stepped up. I think in the last week I've went through let me think. The beginning of the Android Saga.
Mhm.
Go through the Android Saga, which is absolutely hysterical. And then you get into the Cell arc of him becoming Perfect Cell.
Yes.
And then you're be like just getting into the Cell games, and I was just like, oh my gosh, really? It's like Hercule or Mr. Satan, whatever his stupid name is, like comes in there. It's just
Mark.
like,
Or did you miss that at the end of season 2?
Mark?
Mark.
I didn't.
At the end of season 2, while Vegeta's back in space, he gets a call from an old friend of his
Oh yeah.
that got wished back with the Dragon Ball.
Yes, I remember. Yes.
And he's
Oh,
now a
yes,
big
that's
Hollywood producer now.
Yeah, that's right. It says
he's representing this new act called Mr. Mark Satan.
Mark Satan.
But I don't like the name. We're probably going to change it to something like Hercule.
That's right. I completely forgot. Like, of course, he turns up as a ghost, haunts Vegeta.
Except, is he really a ghost, or is that just weird psychological trauma that Vegeta's going through at the death of his father figure?
His father figure. But either way,
I mean, they do the whole joke from Fight Club, where Vegeta, why do you look so bad? He doesn't want to admit he lost to the Ginyu Force. You fell down some stairs. I fell down some stairs. No, you didn't. Shut up, or I'll throw you down a flight.
I remember that. But yeah, like absolutely, Team 4 Star nailed it out of the pocket. It just blew this thing out of the freaking stadium with this for what they did with Dragon Ball Z. I wish they would have continued, but obviously they couldn't because
there are reasons, and I'll talk about it afterwards.
Yeah, there are reasons.
Very good reasons.
Yeah, very good reasons, and plus they were getting strikes and all that. And
actually, they were long past the strikes.
oh, okay,
They only had strikes when they were starting season 2.
really?
I'll explain all that later.
Oh, okay. But yeah, that is primarily what I've been watching is Dragon Ball Z Abridged, and absolutely hysterical. I was pleasantly surprised at a certain scene during the very end of the Android arc to the Cell arc. I was like, because they were ramping this whole little thing up, and I was like, okay, this is a little weird. This is very disgusting. But I was like, okay, I'm enjoying where they're going with it, but they don't go there. It's like they tease that up, but they don't go there, which I appreciate. But there again, I'm not going to say which one it is for the Dragon Ball fans out there who know what I'm talking about.
Is it about the time machine
No, it's about another android.
and his love of birds?
No, the other android.
I'm not quoting any of my jokes for that one.
Yeah. But thoroughly enjoying
The two with the hatred of country music.
Yes. Yes. And this whole thing about country music throughout that entire thing. It's like, what the heck?
They're actually setting up jokes for the history of Trunks, which takes place in the future.
I saw that one.
That came out like sometime after a lot of those episodes with the crossover to Cell. And they were actually setting up lots of jokes. In fact, one of the weirdest things about that is the fact of how much they had to edit Yamcha out of History of Trunks Abridged.
Really?
Yeah. Because Yamcha's in a lot of those opening shots, but according to Trunks, he can't be there.
Huh.
After he found out who Bulma's kid was.
Oh, gosh.
Not getting into that.
No.
If you feel the need to commit suicide, call the suicide hotline. Anyway.
Oh, yeah. No.
It's a
Go
dark.
talk to somebody, please.
Yes.
But anyway, that is what I've been watching. What have you been watching?
I don't know if I mentioned last week that I had gotten to see Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
No, you didn't mention that.
I did not mention that. So that was actually 2 weeks ago.
Oh, wow. Hold on, bro. How was that?
That's what threw me, because I got to I was editing Fire and Ice. Not Fire and Ice. I was editing Megamind today, and I got to thinking, I didn't mention that I went to see a movie.
Right?
So yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is actually really good.
Okay.
If you're going to watch it, of course, you should at least watch Guardians 1, 2, and Avengers Endgame and Infinity War.
So 4 films.
You don't need to watch Thor Blood and Honey. That's not the name of it.
Blood and Honey. That's the new title. Blood and Honey.
Love and Thunder.
Blood
That's
and
the
Thunder,
actual name.
which is
I'm
not a
sorry,
really good
I
film.
mixed it with that knockoff Winnie the Pooh film, horror film.
Wow. That's almost a compliment to that film.
Anyway, I don't know if you said it's a compliment to Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, or to Thor, Love and Thunder.
Love and Thunder was such a mess.
All Love and Thunder explains is why Thor is no longer with the Guardians at the beginning of Guardians 3.
Right.
Oh, yeah, and you should watch the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special,
That's what I keep hearing.
because it does add a couple of nice little new plot elements that the movie didn't have time to go into.
Gotcha.
Just throwing that out. But it's actually very good. I'm going to warn you, if you love animals and you love, like, if you're a little sensitive to blatant murder, especially after you've grown to love like a group of characters,
Okay.
you will need a box of tissues.
Okay. Fair enough.
Because there is a moment I'd say about halfway through this film that cements why we do not like the villain.
Okay.
And I wanted to jump in there and strangle the dude myself after that, because friendship is a beautiful thing. That's all I'm going to say. And it's good to have friends.
You're not helping.
It's good to have friends.
I agree, but
I'm quoting from the movie. It's good to have friends.
But like you're setting you're setting everything off my head. Be like, please don't do this. But
No, it is a good film.
Good.
I'm giving you this warning because it actually was not something I was expecting from this, and you do need to be aware. This is not like is it Marley and Me? Is that the one?
Yeah.
It's not like that per se. It's not that bad, because it's not the end of the film after you've grown to love the dog.
Yeah.
But it's still gonna hit you like a Mack truck.
I got you.
And it's like,
So just fair warning.
going to kill you, high evolutionary. But
I'm not going to throw theories out there, because then you'll just start.
we're not going to go there. Actually, the only other thing I'm going to say is, if you enjoyed the 70s music from the first movie and the 80s music from the second movie, the fact that they do 90s music here and they didn't pick a lot of the 90s songs, that was actually my mainly disappointment. Is while I have nostalgia for 70s and the 80s songs we heard in the first two Guardians films, this one pulling from the 90s, I had absolutely no nostalgia for. The only song I recognized was a Beastie Boys song about No Sleep Till Brooklyn.
Oh, yeah.
That's the only song I recognized.
Okay.
Well, outside of a song they play at the very end, which is a callback to the first movie.
Okay.
But the rest, unfortunately, I don't think they did as good a job picking songs, but that's also on me for not having any nostalgia for 90s rock and pop.
Fair enough.
And they didn't play any country, which is weird because the country was big in the 90s, and I think it was even on pop stuff.
It was
there wasn't even a Shania Twain song or something like that in there, which would have made sense. So there was no Garth Brooks. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, that would be very hard to do.
Well, granted, yes, but there was nothing that even sounded like that style. Like they were mimicking that. It was like, no, we're gonna go all rock and rap and stuff that works, but it doesn't really work for me.
Fair enough.
Anyway, along with that, I have mostly been not watching anything else.
Okay.
Because I've been distracted by a certain video game. I have actually watched some Car Ranger because that's reviews coming up quickly. I'm just not sure how quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So keep an eye out on Power Trip for that, because I think they still are having trouble getting the episode before that out. Okay. Either way, there was something else I did watch last week. Oh, I remember now. I watched the first episode of a new TV show on Disney Plus.
Oh,
Muppets Mayhem.
Oh, okay.
The story of how the band from the Muppet Show recorded their first album this year. They somehow, despite the fact had a record deal from like the 80s, never actually made the record. Okay. And the record company is now forcing them to record a studio record, and it's not going well. I've only watched the first episode. I need to finish it. It's like actually fairly good.
Okay.
Especially if you like, do you remember Tia and Tamara Morley? Yeah. Those Disney Channel stars?
Yeah.
They actually are major characters in this.
Really?
Or not them, but they play major characters in this. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Cool.
And that's outside of Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. That's pretty much what I've been watching.
Okay.
I'm playing.
Nice. Have you got past the tutorial yet?
I am past the tutorial. I am at the point now where it's like, okay, I'm trying to figure out where I should go next, but they intentionally don't tell you where to go next. You're kind of supposed to go and explore, and I kind of know I should go out. I know where I should be going, in the same way that early on in Breath of the Wild that you should be heading towards the four beasts, the four spirit beasts. I kind of know where the disturbances are that I'm supposed to go be looking at, but I am intentionally not heading there yet because I'm just going out and exploring and searching for stuff and trying to make sure I'm powerful enough that when I do go in there, I'm OP.
Got it.
That's my goal anyway. Plus, this is just a fun game to explore.
Gotcha.
Like Breath of the Wild, but it's more because you've actually got 3 map layers to go through. The sky, the Breath of the Wild map with modifications, and the depths. A giant Underdark like cave system that you have to bring light to.
Interesting.
And it's kind of a death trap down there. But anyway, that's pretty much what I've been watching and playing.
Awesome.
Do we have anything in the news?
The Cellcast News with your host Jacob Heron.
Why, thank you, Deedlit, and getting into the news. This was like more interesting. It's a little movie that came out of Norway, and it's like the main voice actor of the character is actually Zachary Levi from the Shazam films and also from Tangled and Tangled the series. So yeah, my love of Tangled, we've already reviewed Tangled the series, Rapunzel's Tangled Adventure, what have you. So yeah, go give those a listen if you want to. We obviously review Tangled, and so yeah, he's doing that. This movie, let me see, it's a Norwegian family film featuring feature called Teddy's Christmas. Obviously, Zachary Levi is signed on to do the voice of the stuffed animal. This is a CG pick set in the winter holiday, or also Christmas for us. The release in the United States through Caplight Pictures and Blue Box Entertainment. Produced by Fanata Films. The film will head to statelight following its release in the European countries. So G-Kids, celebrating its 15th year anniversary, slates its North American release of Lonely Castle in the Mirror and select theaters nationwide for the event showing of June 21st. That's my fun fact. That's when I started my job almost 22 years ago now. And June 22nd only. And so, yeah, that sounded like an interesting film. And so, yeah, that's what I have for news, unless you have anything else, Drew.
No, I do not.
Okay.
So why don't we go ahead and jump into X-Men?
Mm-hmm.
Previously on X-Men.
Meet the sulky, overbooky, time a honky superhero. Electrically transistored superhero and exotically erotic and aquatic superhero. The Marvel superheroes have arrived. X-Men, X-Men, it's today, X-Men, X-Men, coming your way. Spider-Man and his amazing friends, Iceman and Firestar. Wolverine and the X-Men. Wolverine and Hulk are fierce. Dr. Doom up in tears when Iron Man joins the fight. Falcon searches from the sky. Scarlet Witch blows up bad guys. Thor's hammers has Thunder's might. Who'll save the day? The superhero squad. I didn't realize Scarlet Witch was in that.
I didn't either.
Which means I actually have two X-Men. Two mutant characters in that line. I didn't realize I did that. Because I thought all I had was Wolverine. Anyway, we have finally finishing the Phoenix Saga with episode 5, with part 5, Child of Light, which aired originally on September 9th, 1994. And if I'm not mistaken, this was all 1 week when this came out.
Jeez.
Much like another Saban show.
Yes.
With a green villain.
Yeah.
Turned hero.
Some with envy.
And evil.
Mm.
And Barbara Goodson.
Oh, I have such a headache right now.
This episode was directed by Larry Houston and written by Mark Edward Eden. In this episode, the X-Men are drawn into a battle against Ken within the confines of the world within the Imcran crystal, where Phoenix makes a last stand.
I thought it was Imcron.
Imcran, whatever.
Yeah, nuance.
I'd like to point out that this Phoenix Saga ends with a last stand.
Oh, dear Lord.
Just saying. Guest cast for this episode includes Melissa Sue Anderson as Snowbird, Jeffrey Aries as Corsair, Richard Epcar as Gladiator, and Camilla Scott as Lalandra. I still can't find who voiced Ken.
Really?
I maybe I'm just not looking in the right spots.
Maybe.
But quite frankly, this was not much acting on his part anyway. There. During the worldwide rescue sequence, we get cameos from War Machine and the arm of Spider-Man.
Yeah, just the arm.
Just the arm. I'm really curious, since his arm cameos in that shot, it being so long since I've seen Spider-Man, if he was this around the time that show would have started?
No. I
actually have to look that up.
I have to look that up. Like, let's do some research and figure out if we can tie that in.
I'm curious how that's going to tie in, because the Spider-Man animated series is the only other thing until X-Men 97 that's in this Marvel universe.
Yeah.
So there's that. Yeah, and that's actually the end of my trivia. So yeah, unfortunately, we did not get any appearance from the one and only.
I am Magneto, master of magnet.
Do you know how hard it is to find an excuse to play that clip?
Agreed. Agreed.
And I nearly forgot about it this week. What are your thoughts on this?
It's a wonderful send off to the Phoenix Saga. It's 5 episodes. It's a wonderful little arc. It kind of wraps everything up, and obviously you know where it's going. That like everybody gets sucked into the Imcron crystal, and they can't stop him. They can't stop. How do you pronounce his name?
Decan.
They can't defeat him, and obviously because Jean the Phoenix is the only one who can do it. And it's a wonderful send off to the character. Be like, she has to willingly sacrifice herself into go into the sun for Decan, and the Emperor Crystal can't affect anything, because obviously we know
as I was sitting,
Phoenix Saga shows up later.
Whereas I was sitting here wondering, where's Galactus when you need him? That would have taken care of a lot of things.
That is true.
Been another issue for the X-Men to take care of, but you take care of Decan.
But it's true. Galactus is already. Oh no! Wait a minute.
Galactus has not shown up in this yet.
Right, that's right. I'm thinking of another character.
Yeah, because Fantastic Four is
Gladiator. I'm thinking
Gladiator, which is a Superman knockoff.
Yeah, it's a Superman knockoff.
Punk Superman knockoff. Because he's got a mohawk and he's going to serve his Empress.
He's going to serve his Empress. And it's like,
oh, I wish Barbara Goodson was voicing Lilandra.
Oh my gosh!
And that Goldar was voicing Gladiator.
Oh,
but Richard Epcar never voiced.
Oh my gosh!
Goldar.
Yes, my princess.
I will
Empress.
I regret my Empress on this day. Sorry. This is not a good Goldar. I regret my Empress that it was on this day that I enter into your service. My stupid brother! You give me such a headache!
Flip this now! But yes, it is absolutely hilarious. Now I got that stuck in my head. Thank you very much. That is hilarious. But yes, I enjoyed the mess out of this 5-part episode of the Phoenix Saga. We're as an audience member, obviously this came out in 1994, 95?
94
came out 94, because it originally came out 93. Yeah,
the first show was in 93.
Yeah, 93.
This is
94.
This is in the middle of putting this in context.
Yes,
Power Rangers was in its 2nd season.
Yes. So I can't get that out of my head.
I'm sorry. I'm not trying.
It's great.
I'm not
great.
It's trying to mess with you on that.
No. It's hilarious. It's hilarious. Like, you might want to make that a short. Just maybe make it a short. It's great. But I enjoyed it. It ends on a very sour note. It's not one of these like, hey, we've learned a valuable lesson. It's like, no, Jean sacrificed herself in order to save the universe. They're like, yeah, this doesn't end on a very happy, oh shucks, hey, we won the day kind of thing. And it's very somber. And you get this moment between Scott's dad. I can't remember the character's name.
Corsair, who I still say should be voiced by Jonathan Frakes.
Yes, agreed. So you have Corsair and be like, it's like, yeah, Corsair lost his wife, blah 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 blah. It's like, you realize, okay, Scott, that's your father.
I was about to ask, did Corsair ever tell Scott about the fact that they're father and son? We know this for some. I don't remember how we learned.
It's in the series. Yeah. It's so
outside of the trivia. I don't remember how we learned this, but I know it was known. Yeah. But I'm still going, the Cyclops know?
No, not at this point.
I mean, I don't even think we ever get to meet Scott's brother in this.
Oh, I think we meet Havoc. I think.
Do we meet Havoc? I don't remember.
I don't think it has. It's been a while.
It's been 30 years since I watched this part of the show.
Yes.
So
yeah, they'll be like, it's great. It's got this very nice somber, but things have been done the right way. And I love this Jean Grey arc, because there again, in season 1 and 2, we really got nothing of Jean Grey, of who she is, until like, season 3, and she kind of comes to her own character, and she becomes the Phoenix, or the host for the Phoenix.
Yeah, because she does a good, the actress for Jean does a good job of switching back and forth between Jean Grey and Phoenix.
Agreed. It's like, and again, end on a very somber note. There again, I have not watched this in probably 30 years, so it's going to be a very interesting trip to watch the series going forward, and knowing the Dark Phoenix saga is just around the corner.
Yeah, it's later this season. Like, actually, it's in like a few weeks.
Yeah,
it's not actually long from now.
No,
on our recording.
Yes, but yeah, this was a great little arc of stories. I'm still kind of wondering. It's like, Charles, like, what in the world were you thinking? He wasn't thinking. He was like, oh, this psychic being's telling me to do this and help. And it's like, so you send your students into danger. You don't know what's going to happen. You're just kind of a wink and a prayer that they'll be okay. And you don't tell them anything, even though you probably know things. You're not informing them. And so thanks, Charles. And your whole dark side that you kept suppressed.
that was such a weird chapter of this.
Such a weird chapter of it. It was like, what in the world is going on here? But be like, it was there again. It's just it's interesting storytelling.
I think they wanted an excuse to draw Xavier in a cape.
Yeah, because capes are always fun. Minus, be like, you go, Edna, no capes.
Now I want Charles Xavier going, I do not say blah, blah, blah.
Anyways, I enjoyed this episode tremendously. And it's like, be like, knowing what we know is like, oh my gosh, the scene that got me the most, it was the scene where Corsair and Scott be like, obviously Corsair kidnapped Scott.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, be like, yeah, Scott would be like, yeah, I really don't remember my parents. And it's like, yeah, I lost my wife. Be like, it's like, yeah.
But I'm really glad I got to know you.
Yeah. You remind me of
son. Say the word son.
That's all we're asking.
That's all we want. No, we got to hold that off for whenever Corsair shows up again.
Yeah.
Which may not be until X-Men 97 for all I know.
No, he shows up. Be like, this they finish it in this season.
I forget that Dark Phoenix, at the very least, Dark Phoenix Saga does return to the Shi'ar, and I can see the Starjammers getting involved in that because Jean Grey is on trial, if I remember correctly.
Something like that.
But anyway.
Yeah. Great episode. Somber note.
Maybe not in Dark Phoenix, maybe somewhere later, because they actually do use the Hellfire Club, but I bet they call them something, call them different.
They call it the Hellfire Club. But I would note that this there are so many little quirky little things here and there throughout this entire arc, which is great. But there again, it's just like, wow, okay. Be like Charles not telling his students anything. Be like, yeah, it's just like, oh yeah, you must do this because it's the fate of the world. And like, you get great Jean Grey arcs. She becomes the Phoenix, whatever. And her great sacrifice moment, wonderful. And it's great. It's just wonderful. And so, yeah, great episode that I enjoy. And I remember very fondly from my childhood, which I think I was 10 when this came out. 93, 95. Yeah, I was about 10, 11 years old.
So far, I can tell you this about the X-Men, the Phoenix, of the X-Men Phoenix sagas. I'll include both of them here. Far better than anything the movies did. The movies really ruined that story, because the only time the Hellfire Club shows up, or any of the Hellfire Club shows up in the movies,
is First Class.
Is in First Class, which has nothing to do with Jean Grey.
Yeah.
She's in the movie, technically.
Yes. Yeah, because I kept thinking, it was like, yeah, the Last Stand, not a very good movie. And what I keep hearing of Dark Phoenix,
it's not a good movie. I'll put it this way. Last Stand is better.
That's bad. That is really bad.
about the only thing, really, if in my opinion,
Yeah.
it should have stopped with Apocalypse.
Oh, agreed.
Because
Apocalypse was good.
Apocalypse was at least an enjoyable film.
Yeah.
Dark Phoenix and the New Mutants, Disney should have killed when they bought Fox. Because those were the last two X-Men films that Fox was able to produce under the old franchise.
Yeah.
So, and they only let them out because they were mostly done. In fact, I think New Mutants, which came out after, got delayed again because of COVID.
Yeah. Thanks, COVID.
No, don't thank you, COVID. This is the one time I think COVID should have done more to kill that film.
You know what that kind of reminds me of? Warner Brothers and Batgirl. Now, it was a completed film.
Okay, you have a point, because I did say with back then when HBO Max was killing everything that they should have gone ahead and released it, because there's no excuse for a film that completed to come out. So yeah, that is actually very fair, because that is actually me being slightly hypocritical saying that Disney should have killed New Mutants.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
I will admit that I was hypocritical in that moment.
Hey,
that being said, if you wanted to review New Mutants on the Bottom Shelf podcast, Dallas, hit me up.
Because I hear that it's not good.
It's not.
Anyway,
Venom was better.
Venom was better.
Yeah.
Okay. Was the Carnage?
Both Venoms were better.
Okay, then.
I don't know if you consider one to be less than the other. You personally.
Yeah.
If you've even seen both films.
I've seen Venom. Obviously, we reviewed it for the Movie of the Week podcast.
We did?
Yes, we did.
We did.
We did. And I did not have a good time on that review. Let's say that.
Carnage ain't much better than that.
I actually
about the only thing I liked about Let There Be Carnage was when I was sitting there watching the after credits scene,
You told me that.
and Venom and is talking with Eddie about something, and all of a sudden the room shakes horribly, and he's now in an island cabana, and he's seeing a news story, and we then see MCU Spider-Man's expose about killing. I nearly said Mystique. That is not that character's name.
Mysterio.
I go, it's the same universe now. That wasn't supposed to happen.
Like, personally, I have not seen the Carnage film, but I'd be like, personally, I really did enjoy Venom for what it was as a film.
It's not a great film.
It's not. I don't know, because personally, I'm taking it just perspective as a film, the way it was approached, the way that Tom Hardy did the performance. I thought he did an amazing job as a performance.
Yeah, Tom Hardy actually does a good Eddie and Venom, because he's playing both characters.
Yeah, Tom Hardy is a good actor. Come at me, Jim.
I was actually disappointed that Venom did not get more of a pull in No Way Home.
Yeah.
Because that would have been cool, but you already had a lot of crazy stuff happening in No Way Home.
Yeah.
So fair. That's your excuse to get Venom into that storyline and it not be whatever amazing the original Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire Spider-Man did. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Go right ahead.
But yeah, just like, I'd be like, yeah, Venom to me personally I thought it was a good film. I know a lot of people didn't like the film, but for what it was, what the storytelling they were doing was very good.
Look, I don't believe in the turn your brain off sentiment when you're watching a film, because if you turn your brain off, you're not paying attention.
Oh, I agree.
In so many ways, I don't think anyone can actually turn their brain off. It's more, be aware that you're not eating filet mignon and that you're eating Whataburger or McDonald's,
right,
or microwaved hamburger or something like that.
There again, be like, I'm not saying that, be like, you need to know all the lore and the whole bit.
Yeah.
What I am saying, for what the story they were telling, the characters, the character arcs, and the whole bit, what they were telling in the story itself, outside of the, you know, Spider-Man's not in it. It's not, he doesn't have the spider logo,
Right.
what have you. The story itself, I really enjoyed. The characters, I really enjoyed. I love the weird relationship between Venom and Eddie, and Tom Hardy's performance was really good. I like Tom Hardy's performances. Again, come at me, Jim. Anyways,
this has been your extra review that none of us expected of Venom and its surrounding media. That was not intended for tonight.
No,
so we did no research.
No research. I'm just remember
We just started conversating there, folks.
Yes, I just remember very fondly you doing that episode for
Conversing. Conversating. It's not a word.
Yes. Yes. Like if you want to go hear our review of Venom, go listen to
Movie of the Week
podcast. It's still out, so go give it some love. It's like, yeah, I
might have to go back and listen to that episode because I don't remember it.
I do, clearly.
Obviously. Anyway, that brings us to the end of this episode.
Yes.
Next week on X-Men the Animated Series, we are going to be watching the episodes No Mutant is an Island and Obsession. And I literally have no idea where we're going on these two episodes. So join us next week for that with Dallas. In the meantime, this has been Drew.
This is Jacob.
And we'll catch you in the next frame.
You can follow Jacob on his Facebook at Jacob B. Heron. His Facebook page, Jacob's Daily Art Corner, where he tries to draw each and every day. His Instagram at Jacob B. Heron. His Twitter at Jacob Heron. And his letterboxd at Jacob Heron. You can find Drew on Facebook at Drew Dodgen. His Facebook page, Drew's Photo Bin, to see his photography. His letterboxd page at GGeorge759. His Twitter at GGeorge759. And Instagram at Drew Dodgen. You can like us on Facebook at the Cellcast Podcast. On Twitch at the Cellcast Gaming. On YouTube at Cellcast. On Twitter at cast_cell. The Cellcast can be found at Apple Podcasts, Google Play Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, or anywhere else fine podcasts are downloaded from. Please rate and review us where you found us, and also on Podchaser. Email us at thecellcastpodcast@gmail.com. The Cellcast is a proud member of both the Pop Americana and Culture Box media networks. For more information, please see the link in the description. Our theme song is Drop and Roll by Silent Partner. And remember, that's Cell with a single L.
Find the Dragon Balls, look out for them all. Come and hunt those Dragon Balls with me. Gotta heed the call of magic Dragon Balls. What a great adventure this will be. Set a course for action, adventure does wait. A fantastic journey for your dreams, a thrilling mystery.